What's up, everybody? Grumpsy here. Today I am bringing you, as always, a video about Resto Shaman. And we're talking about the War Within, which is coming out very soon here at the end of August. So I'm very excited because Resto Shaman has shown a lot of promise here on the beta, and now in live keys you can play around with the new talents and everything, except that there's no hero talents, but still looking really, really strong and looking like we have a good shot of being at least one of the top two healers of season one here. So it's very exciting. I have been cooking up a little talent build here. This is not what most people have been playing. I think most people are playing Totemic, and I'm going to make a video on this at some point, but I wanted to bring a FARSEER build here first because I don't think many people are looking at this tree that much. And recently, Blizzard has announced some small changes, a small buff to Hydro Bubble, which is a talent point here, which we'll talk about in a second. And I'll talk about the tree as a whole. We'll do that first. But brief overview, I guess, is if you haven't looked at this at all, if you haven't touched it at all, which some people don't have beta or they haven't logged on yet, they've moved a lot of our talent points around. They've consolidated a lot of points, and we're now able to take most of the things we want to without any trouble at all. And just because of, we have some extra points from stuff being put together, and some, we're able to take this down here if we want to because they've moved some stuff around. So let me get into that right away. So this is really a non-chain heal build. As you see, I don't have High Tide, I don't have Tidebringer, and it's funny because I spent the most of this Dragonflight expansion playing chain heal. Even when a lot of people switched to Primal Tide Core, I felt more comfortable with chain heal. Now with this new talent tree setup, they put Primal Tide Core over here. It's not competing with High Tide or anything like that. So you're able to take this and this if you wanted to, but I wanted to make a build that's focused mainly on Riptide and Primal Tide Core, and this talent over here, which ancestors have a 20% chance to call another ancestor. So I wanted to make a build that is focused on spawning ancestors and getting them out there. Now, disclaimer, ancestors are very passive. You don't really notice them out there. You're not going out of your way to spawn them and maintain them. It's just a passive way for you to get a little extra throughput. So I wouldn't think too hard about the Farseers themselves. But mainly the talent tree over here just feels very strong. You have a lot of group utility, a lot of group AoE healing, but it's not as much as you would have with High Tide. So you do have to play a little carefully. If you played with Primal Tide Core before, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? But one of the main differences here is I'm able to take Ascendance, which is not a capstone node anymore, and Deeply Rooted Elements as well. So basically my Ascendance uptime in dungeons is quite high, and this procs a lot more than I'm accustomed to. I haven't really played with this expansion at all except in Raid, right? But in Mythic Plus, this is up a good amount of time and is doing a good deal of throughput. So the fact that this is here, I think back in the current expansion, the issues with taking this over here was there was no good way to get there, right? You're wasting a lot of talent points to get there. But now all these talent points you want to take. You want Earth and Harmony. This thing is really, really strong now, as I'll show you a healing breakdown later. But being able to take these to get down here is very good. So I think because we have more, excuse me, we have more talent points to spare now, you want to actually go down here. Now you can obviously switch to this. You can do whatever you want. There's a lot of options here, but the build I wanted to focus on is Deeply Rooted Elements plus Primal Tide Core. So if we take a glance here at the healing breakdown, this was in a plus 10 or 11 or something. And this is with PTC now. Healing Surge is going to be your top heal, right? By quite a bit. There's going to be some Healing Wave when you're playing Primordial Wave. But the main difference here is that Ancestral Awakening is doing a lot of healing, and they buffed this for the War Within. You definitely want to take 2 talent points here. It's doing 10% overall. And also the Hydro Bubble, which they buffed, which really costs us nothing, right? It's a hero talent point. As you see here, it's doing 6% overall healing. I think that's I think that's really good for 1 hero talent point. It's not even in our main talent tree, right? So, I'm playing Cloudburst here. You don't have to play Cloudburst. However, I think without Chain Heal, to not have Cloudburst would really put you at risk of not having a kind of a prepared, a responsive heal to large amounts of damage, for example, right? Because the difference between Primal Tide Core and High Tide builds is really, its responsiveness, right? Now, Primal Tide Core is more efficient. You're getting more mana efficiency out of Primal Tide Core than you would out of a Chain Heal build. However, Chain Heal has always been more responsive and has a little bit more throughput, on-demand throughput, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't necessarily want to play Healing Stream with Primal Tide Core, but I might want to play Healing Stream with Chain Heal. So when I talk about the totemic build in a couple days here when I make that video, we're gonna see, I think Healing Stream is actually better for that one, and Cloudburst is going to be better for this one. So yeah, as for my general sense of, how this feels, it feels really good. It feels like Primal Tide Core now, except for there's a lot of like bells and whistles they added to the build, because the build right now is very bland. In my opinion, I thought it was kind of boring, this expansion, when I tried it. But there's a lot of kind of usefulness I'm getting out of the tree now. Just some little talent points here and there that make this much more interesting to play, a little more versatile, and you can mix and match different talent points as you need here. For example, you're able to take Spirit Walker's Tidal Totem if you wanted to. You could spec out of this and go down here or something. You don't need Master of the Elements. You can change this to something else. You could even come down here and take Improved Earth Living if you don't like playing with Ancestral Awakening or something. I would just come in here. You can go on live now. This talent set is live. And there's different things you can take. So, this isn't a be-all, end-all talent tree, but this is really what I've been playing with on beta for the past couple weeks, and to pretty good success here. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this FARSEER video. I hope you found this interesting, and please go ahead and give it a try. And if you have any questions or even suggestions, I'd be happy to hear them. We're all kind of in a learning phase right now, and it's going to be like that for a while. But this is basically what I cooked up for people to try. Thanks for watching, guys. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, and any comments you want to post, I look forward to reading. And I very much am looking forward to the War Within, and hopefully seeing everybody there.